Sweet. Hope everyone's doing good today. Just a quick, as usual, just a quick thumbs up before we really get going. If you all can hear me, how is the sound and video? Hopefully, we don't have any sort of outbound audio sync issues like we had last week. Sorry about that. If you wanted to watch last week's again, because the audio sync may be left because it was annoying, I did auto upload, or I re-uploaded the local version that I recorded. Because while I'm streaming, I'm also recording everything local. So I uploaded a clean version. Sweet. So audio and sound is good. Thank you very much. So yeah, thanks for everyone for joining today. Today we are I busted my balls to try to get Foundation 6.1 done by today, and I did it. So yeah, it's done. It's ready. I'm ready to ship it. I will ship it pretty much probably right after this live stream, so you all can. I didn't want to update it because maybe I'm going to find some bugs during the live stream, and maybe I can fix some of those before I ship it. But I think it's pretty good. I've been testing it. A couple other people have been testing it for me, and it's a really, really great update. So really, a lot of what this has is some things that I kind of wanted to get in 6.0 in the release, but as anything, you got to cut some features in order to ship on time, because I had to ship it. So I cut a few things, and I wanted to add a few of those things back in and make sure that they're all working and stuff like that. So we're all good to go now. I'm really, really happy with this release. To be honest, probably what I can do is I'm probably going to let 6.1 live for a little while, probably for at least a few months before I start, thinking about 6.2. Most because I want to get a standard for people to really learn Foundation with and have something steady and stable. And that, I think, is going to be the 6.1 release. I'm really happy with it. It has pretty much all the features that I wanted. The only thing I might try to add maybe early next year is the Foundation 5 stuff. I'll try to play around with that, but that will definitely come in 6.2. But for right now, I really want to, cruise control with 6.1 for a little bit. Let people really get a hold of get their teeth into it and learn how to use it. Hopefully, you're already getting used to it. 6.1 isn't drastic differences. It's just a couple really powerful new features, and I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to do with it, because I've already seen a couple people do some stuff that can really blow your mind. Like, it's really, really cool. So we have a lot of the regulars. We have Danny and Marin and Gunter and Martin and Gaston. Thank you very much. Dominic, Mr. Cole, Chris. Oh, Mr. Powers is here. Paul, thank you for coming. Excellent. Digital Craftsman. How are you, bud? Excellent. So someone, before I start, suggests you check your Rapweaver community listing. Rapweaver link goes to a 404, Foundation link goes to a 404 page on Weaver Space. Not sure what your link you're speaking about, but Marco and Derek, thanks for coming in. Cool. Let's start talking about Foundation 6.1. I'm just going to dive right into it. No fluff. So first off, we have, I guess here, let me get my screen sharing going here, because that is why we are here. Let's do this screen. Make sure my window is visible to everybody. Oh, make it a little smaller. Okay. Boom. Okay. There we go. Here is Foundation 6.1. And so I have some release notes. And what we're going to go through is I'm just going to go step by step through all the new stuff that we got. And so the first one is probably the biggest feature. I'll go over that one first. And it is hover effects inside swatches. So, I can't move that window because you got to see it. Okay. So if you remember inside swatches, if we look at the settings here, if you're familiar with the settings, you'll notice that there's two new settings, and these new settings are available in every single swatch. Okay. Here, let me move this window over a little bit so we can kind of circle in on these. Okay. So we have on state and breakpoint. And so right now I'm going to focus on state. And the primary use for on state, which is the one I'm going to show today, is if you notice on state, I have a bunch of different states here. And the first one in the list is called hover. Okay. And what that does is that allows us now to apply this style when we are hovering over that element. So now we can provide different things, maybe buttons, different background colors, different borders, different. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay, so let's just do a couple quick examples. Let's just let's just call this. I'm just going to call this BG. Okay, I'm going to create a class called BG. We'll do BG hover test. Okay. So I got BG hover test. I'm going to copy that. Okay. And then in the second one, we're going to type in that same exact class. And then this one's going to be on hover. Okay. So what does that mean? That means, let me move the windows back so we can see everything. Okay. So when I add the class of BG hover test to anything, the background color will be blue. And then if you notice here, when I have BG hover test and when I hover, the background color is orange, right? Okay, so let's just go ahead and let's do it on this one column. Okay, so I'm just gonna paste in BG hover test into the classes, and there we go. Now, in edit mode, you're not gonna see the hover colors. Okay, but let's go ahead and refresh this. Or there we go. So when I hover over this with my mouse, you notice when I hover over it, it goes from blue to orange. Now, please don't do this particular style on your website. I just happen to have a blue and an orange swatch here. So that was just chance. Obviously, you're not going to do something like that, I hope. Okay. Now, one thing you might say is, hey, that background color, like it's very abrupt, the change. Like it's like, boom, like orange, right? Well, it would be nice if we could have like a little transition to that. Okay. Well, there is actually a new transition swatch. So right here, there's a transition swatch. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Okay. And when we go to transitions, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my class, my BG hover test class. And then if we look at the general setup down here, you'll notice that we have a few things. We can control the speed, the delay. So maybe you want to hover and then delay the animation a little bit. You can do that. And then we have a bunch of different animation kind of like timing. Does it go fast to slow? For color, those are harder to see, but you'll notice things like when you start animating width or height or margins or stuff like that. Some of these other effects could be really interesting. Okay, so we're just going to stick with ease for right now. And the speed is 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So let's preview that. So if you notice there, it's a much nicer, less abrupt. The two colors fade into each other. Again, that kind of is funky because while it's transitioning, it kind of looks green. But yeah. But there we go. Hover. And so that same exact concept can be used for any swatch. Background, I chose background to show you guys because that's one that you can really see, right? Now you can use this for buttons as well, right? So let's say, let's change this example here. Let's do something kind of crazy. Why not? Just for fun. I'm going to remove this BG class here. Okay. Let's go ahead and add a button. So I'm going to add a button into here. Okay. Let's make it a large button just for fun. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's do hover button. Okay, is my class. Okay. Instead of this orange, let's choose something that's like a purple or something a little nicer. So we're going to go from blue to purple on hover. Okay. And so let's go ahead on this. We're going to assign, close this. We're going to put in the hover button class inside this button. Okay. And obviously I shouldn't have deleted that transition. Let's leave that transition there. Same class inside the transition. Okay. I'm going to leave the default transitions. That's fine. Maybe one thing that could be interesting is just to kind of show something different is we're going to do, let's go to rounding. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to do around corners on this thing. Let's go from, let's do 10, right? Or actually let's go a little crazy. Let's do detailed and do like 10, 50. No, 10, 50. And we're going to do like a funky button. Okay. So this is going to be the shape of the button, by default. And then, let's go ahead and copy and paste that. And then I'm going to go to, on hover, I want it to be like that. Okay. So interesting. If you notice, here's our button. We kind of see what it looks like, right? Let's go ahead and preview this. I haven't even tested this out yet. Or let's center this button, actually. Let's go ahead and center that. I got to do this. Okay. And let's just add some padding so the button's a little bit further down the page. Oops. Hold on. I want to preview in Rapweaver so it's easier. There we go. Okay. So in theory, when I hover over this button, the background color should change purple and the button should actually morph. Okay, let's see. Boop. Wow. Check that out. Pretty cool. So let's go to I'm going to make it a faster transition. Actually, let's do like, let's cut it in half. I'm going to do 500 milliseconds. And on hover, I actually want to do the opposite. So I'm going to do 50, 10, 50, 10. So we're going to do 50, 10, 50, 10. So the button's gonna morph differently, right? Okay, so let's test that. So when I hover over it, boop, boop, look at that. That's pretty slick. I'm not sure. I love the rounding. Maybe with a couple more tweaks, we can make it look a little bit more attractive. Maybe a little less drastic on the semi-round on the 50 pixel side. But that's pretty nice, right? All done with just these transition swatches, and hover effects. So I'm really excited to see. I'm not going to go into all this. I mean, there's infinite number of possibilities that you can do here. Your imagination is really like can go wild here. So I'm really stoked to see what you can do with hover swatches. Okay. Now, just really quick, while I'm not going to demonstrate every single one of these, I just want to kind of show like there are a lot of what are called pseudo classes here, right? Within CSS. So we can target something if it's on focus. So what is focus? When most of the time focus has to do with form input fields, right? When the mouse is active on that input field, it is in focus. So that allows you to target an input when it's in focus and maybe do a different style. Like, a lot of times if you clicking on a form input, a lot of times, you can add a drop shadow so it kind of raises up a little bit, right? There's a lot of things that you can do based on different states. Active, there's various things that are active, like checkboxes can be active, different things can be active. Before and after, I'll have to do a video on those maybe because those are quite complex. Obviously we have checked. Checked and active are different. So checked is for checkboxes. Disabled, buttons can be disabled. There's actually there's a setting in buttons to disable it. Form inputs can be disabled. So there's a lot of stuff that can be disabled. A lot of these are very edge case stuff. Maybe you will never use them. But I want to give you all the tools that we might need. So a lot of these you might not need. First child, a lot of these I'm probably gonna have to do videos on to kind of describe and show what some of these are. Read only, that's another thing for form inputs. If a field is set to required, you can actually style it a little bit different. And if a field has been marked as valid, right? So if it's valid, if it's been through the validation. So a lot of those are for form fields, and a lot of the other stuff I'm probably gonna have to do some templates and show you the power of what some of those things can do. But with hover alone, if you just ignore everything else in that list and focus just on hover for right now, you're really going to do a lot of amazing stuff. Okay. Now, I didn't review yet, but we can now apply different styles on breakpoints. Okay. So let's say, here, let's just for right now, let's do this. What was this? This was the button, right? So let's say on medium and large. So if I set this hover style to only be applied on medium and large, I'm not sure why this particular one we'd really want, but it just shows you what we could do. So here, I'm going to preview in the browser so I can resize it. So on medium and I'm on a large size machine right now, right? So when if I shrink this browser window down to go to a small browser size, and if you notice when I hover over it, we still get the color because that style is still applied to everything. But the animation for the rounded corners doesn't work on mobile because I set it to only work on medium and large. Okay, let's play around and show you a better use case for that. I'm gonna go ahead and delete all of those. Let's do this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do let's do okay, we'll do height 256. Then let's add some background colors. So I'm going to add a background color to this one column. Let's just do a swatch. Okay. And then, so let's just preview that really quick. Oh, wait, we'll just keep with my class. Why not? Okay, so I copy my class. Let's put it on the container. Okay. All right. So now I have, I don't want it full width. Let's do, I forgot about that. I did that. I just want to do something really quick. What I want, column. I'm gonna add one column there. There. Okay. Let's add some margin to it so we're further down. Okay. So here I have a box, okay, and if you notice, it goes to the edge, okay, or it goes, if you notice, to the edge, it is square. Okay, let's go ahead and round that off. Let's do that. How does that do? Okay, I'm going to target this one right here just because it's a little bit further down the page. What I can do is I want to add round corners to this box. Okay. And yeah, let's do that. Border. Oh no, it's rounding. My bad. Rounding. So we'll go rounding. And yeah, we'll just do that. Okay. So there we go. If you notice this box now, right? If we look at, it's rounded. Okay. What I want to do is a lot of times, let's say I have a layout where on desktop and tablet, a lot of times we have rounded corners, right? But then a lot of times when we're on mobile, those rounded corners look kind of funky, right? Especially if at that point it goes all the way to edge, right? So let's say on mobile, we didn't want rounded corners, right? So that way these settings are really easy now. So here, if I go to my rounded corners, right? And then I go to the breakpoint settings, I can say medium and large. So that means on small, I don't want this style to be applied. Okay. And so now if we preview in the browser, right? If I, browser cache. All right. So if you notice when I go medium, these corners are rounded, right? And if I go down to mobile, we'll notice that they are square, right? So a lot of times, depending on the device, I know basically what kind of got me thinking about this. There was another post on the Weaver Space community that a user wanted to have no borders on mobile, but he wanted borders on desktop. And it was just because the way the layout shifted, the borders just were kind of in the way on mobile. So now with these settings, this breakpoint setting, and it's the same exact setting in every single swatch. Actually, with the exception of height, width, margins, and padding, those don't have a breakpoint setting. And the reason for that is those swatches already have detailed settings for every single breakpoint, right? So they didn't really need a breakpoint setting because it's already baked in with all the settings. So anyway, that's pretty cool. We can now target swatches to a particular breakpoint, which is really nice. Another thing while we're in site styles is I really worked on improving the layout within site styles. So I don't know if you ever noticed, but like if you were ever selecting various swatches, sometimes you would actually get like 2 open or multiple open, or sometimes like all of them would be opened based on just some weird state. That should be completely fixed now. Only the one that is selected should actually show the details, which is nice. Okay. Let's just add a few more. So there we go. If I just keep clicking around, we'll see that it is much nicer in terms of only displaying the selected one. Now, another thing that is good is that things like component colors, before it was like a lot of data in this tiny thing. So there's a few swatches now, component colors and text colors now actually go a little bit wider, okay? So that it's easier to see and visualize those. Okay, and they still collapse down. They still behave the same. They're just a little bit bigger, right? And another one is if you are using Pen. Now, Pen is a free stack on my site. It is not included with Foundation 6. It was released before Foundation 6. But Pen is a really great way for organizing our swatches, okay? Because you can kind of create groups of swatches with Pen. And I've made Pen go double wide as well. And what you'll notice is when you add swatches inside of Pen, okay, they will collapse, or they'll become a grid as well. So we get a 2x2 grid. Let's just go ahead and add a few more. Right. So now Pen will grid all of its items, and when you select a pen, all of the swatches within it will open up so you can see everything automatically. Right. So that's pretty cool. Select your pen, you'll see everything. And it still works if you're in the pen settings, you can collapse your pen and you can completely hide everything. And then if you like that as well, that was already a feature of Pen. Okay, so that's a nice feature with Pen. So we can use that for grouping of things. And Pen itself kind of grids the swatches as well, which is cool. Okay. And what you'll notice is, let's say right now there's a spot open in this grid for a small item. Let's say if I were to add a text colors, what you'll notice is it kind of knew that text colors wouldn't fit, so it threw it over here. Okay. And then if we were to add, so it kind of lays out, it tries to make the layout as condensed as possible. So that's nice. Okay. Cool. So I'm really happy with that. You'll also notice that if you're ever trying to drag and drop other stacks, previously when you try to drag them over site styles, like they would actually try to be inserted into site styles, so things would kind of jump around a little bit. That's not possible anymore. So just a little bit, just a very refined edit mode now for swatches inside site styles. So I'm really happy with that. Okay. Cool. Let's jump on. Let me see if there's any questions. Don't get too close to the mic. Sorry about that, Marin. Okay. So next up is, I'm gonna go ahead and just delete some of these, get rid of some space here. Okay. I think we're done with site styles. Let's go ahead and let's look at what else is new. So next up is, so you notice that there was a stack called Grid Pro before that has been renamed, and it is now called Columns Pro. And I called it Columns Pro because it is columns, And just to kind of get the point to people that are just starting to learn it, that it really is just professional kind of pro setting columns. Okay. I'm not going to dive into all the settings within the column stack, but let's go ahead and I want to build out something a little bit to kind of show you something new here. So I'm going to create a 3-column layout just with some text. Okay, so I have a 3. If you notice, the child stack now is called column instead of a grid cell. Okay, so we have columns pro and then a column. Okay, so let's go ahead and preview that. So here I have a 3-column. Okay, let's go ahead and add a little bit of space in between those as well. We'll just add a little bit of margin and padding. There we go. Okay, so I have a little bit of margin and padding. I have 3 columns. Now, a feature that was not put in 6.0 that I'm a little surprised at how many people requested it, that because they missed it from Foundation 1, was column dividers. So we want to have like little dividers in between each column, just little horizontal lines. How can we do that? So this feature is currently only available in Columns Pro. But if you go down, you'll notice that you can add a column or a column divider now. Let's zoom in on that so you can see that, right? So you can add a column or a column divider. Okay, so I'm going to add a column divider. Okay, and we're going to add that where we want. Okay, so I'm going to add one there, and let's go ahead and add another one there. Okay, so here I have a column, first column, then a divider, then a second column, then a divider. So you can really position your dividers exactly where you want them. Okay. And what's nice is each divider has a visibility stack associated with it. So, let's say on mobile, you didn't want to show the dividers because it just doesn't make sense with your layout. You can say, hide for mobile, right? So you could say hide for small only. Okay. So if we were to go to, here, let's go to this column. Let's say small is 12, medium is auto. Let's do the same. Small is 12, medium is auto, and the third column. I should have done this before I created them all. Small is 12, medium is auto. Okay, there we go. Let's preview that, and there we go. So we have our dividers. Now you might be saying, Joe, cool, dividers, but like they're really big. I want them a little bit smaller, right? Well, we got you. I got you covered. So if we go to Columns Pro, if we go to the, I made it so you can, all that particular setting is done at the Columns Pro level so that they all match, right? So like if we go, the default is 32 pixels. Let's do a padding on those lines of 64 pixels. So if you notice now they're a little bit smaller, so we can even go a little bit more, 128, right? Oops. There we go. So, and that padding is added to the top and bottom. And then there's the lines themselves are centered, right? So we get nice little accents here. Hopefully you guys can see that through the live stream is, the little accented line in between each. And then if you ever wanted to target these dividers, like maybe the color or something like that, you can easily do that with the border swatch because all that is a border. So you just go to borders, and then you can go to component. And I think I added, here, column divider, right? So there is now a column divider component, okay? And then you can customize the color. So let's say, here, let's choose something like red, something like that, right? And if we do bang important. So yeah, there we go. They're red now. So yeah, really easy, nice way of styling. You can also make them larger. So if you want to, I think 1 pixel is good, but if you want to make it 2 pixels, there you go. They're slightly bigger now, right? So you can really start styling these dividers the way that you want with one simple swatch. Cool. Excellent. Let's see. Next up. There's a new launcher stack. Okay. So if we go into, where is it? Launcher. Okay. So there is now a new stack here. It's in the library. It's called Launcher. And when we add that to the page, what this does is it allows us to turn anything we want into a way of launching a lightbox or a drop down or open and off canvas. Okay, so a big use for this is maybe you want to use an image, and when you click on the image, it opens up a lightbox. Or you can really add whatever you want into here, right? For right now, I'll do an example with an image so that we can see that. You're going to add there. All right, let's delete the text. Let's add a picture stack. Let's just quickly add a picture in here. Okay, so when I click on this image, we want to launch a lightbox. Let's go ahead and add the lightbox to the page because we have to open up the lightbox. Let's just, I'm just going to be boring. I'm just going to add some text on the lightbox. So here the lightbox ID is lightbox1. So in the launcher, the default lightbox is the same as the default ID. So we'll keep it the same. But you'd have to make sure that that lightbox ID matches. Okay. And that should be all we have to do. So now when I go ahead and click on this image, it opens up my lightbox. Pretty simple. And you can do the same thing inside the launcher. If you wanted to, you can open up a lightbox, open up a dropdown, or open up an off canvas, right? So it's a really simple way to turn anything you want into a launcher for all three of those items. Oops. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Vertical grids. Okay. This one's going to be interesting. This is the first time this has actually happened to me. I actually have to step away for 1 second because I have a very important thing that's coming. Sorry about that. I will be back in just 1 second. Very, very sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I have something. This feature is definitely an edge case feature, and it's something called vertical grids. Okay, let's do this really quick. Where is it? Vertical grids. Okay. Now, vertical grid is something very different than what we've ever had before. Okay. Vertical grids are essentially a way, think of them as columns, but flipped on its side. So basically what we're doing is we define a vertical area on our page, and then we have to, basically we're divvying up just like we would columns. You know, this one takes up 2, this one takes up 6, this one takes up 10, right? But we're doing it vertically. Okay. So this is when we need something like this, I think it's very powerful. It's not something we're going to use on every site, but it is a very interesting way to divvy up a vertical space within a page. Okay, I can do a really simple example right now. I'm going to create 2 background swatches. Let's do background. This is where I had that BG1. primary. And we're going to do BG2. New warning. Okay. So here I have a vertical grid. Now, in order to divvy up a vertical space, the vertical grid actually has to have a height set to it. So we have to define what the height of this area is. Okay. And by default, it's going to be full browser height. So the vertical grid is going to take up the entire height of the browser window. Okay. Now you can use, if you want, here is just static heights and percentage heights of the browser. You can also use a swatch here. And then you could define different heights using the height swatch for small, medium, and large. Okay. But for if you just want something simple, that's exactly what you do here. Let's stick with full browser height for right now. Now in the row, I'm going to go ahead and add just a class in here for BG1, right? Because I want this one to be background 1. And we're just going to create a three columns or 3 rows here. So I'm going to paste those. In this middle row, I'm going to make that do BG2. Okay. So by default, like I'm going to keep the default settings right now. Let's preview. What we'll see is it divvied up because the default is auto for sizing. So what it did is it divvied up that vertical space evenly between the 3 rows. Okay. So let's go ahead in this first row. I'm going to set that to be, let's say 1. Okay. In the orange row, let's set that to be 6. Okay. And then in the last row, that's what 5. We got 5 left. Or we're going to leave that as auto, right? So there we go. So at the top, we have a small little area. Then we have a larger area that takes up 50%. And then the area below that just fills up the space. Pretty cool, right? This is a really interesting thing. I don't have a great I'll be honest. I kind of did this because I was like, I know how to do that. We could do that. And I've seen some need for that. When you need to divvy up something, right? Now, if you only need 2, let's say you needed, 50%, something like that, right? That's pretty simple. So you can have as many as you want though. So I'm really excited about this. I think it'll be a really cool thing. I'm really interested to see what you guys use this for. As we learn more about it, it has a lot of other features. So in terms of vertical alignment and alignment of the content that you throw inside of them, right? So that the content inside each row will be vertically centered and stuff like that, right? So it's really nice. I think it could be a really, really interesting thing to do. So I'm excited about this. Again, it's an edge case. It's not something we're going to use all the time, but when you need it, that really will fit the bill really, really nicely. So cool. Vertical grids. Next up is, okay, got it. The next one is, so actually one thing I should add, this isn't really a feature, but the page safe, when you add page safe to site styles now, it takes up 2 spaces. So there will actually be an update to page safe today, along with 6.1 to get that. So, if you have page safe and you added that as a feature, again, that's a third-party stack. It's not a part of Foundation, but if you ever noticed when you added it to site styles, it would kind of get cut off a little bit. So I just gave it a little bit more breathing room inside site styles. Okay. But, the next feature I want to talk about is site preloaders. Okay. And, the site preloader, it showed up in the menu, but it actually didn't work at all before. So, it's really cool. And what's nice is you can see exactly what the preloader is right there inside edit mode. Okay. So there it is. There's the preloader. Okay. And if we look at the settings, we have settings for the background. We have a bunch of different preloaders. We'll cycle through them in a little bit. Okay. Then you can choose the icon color. And then we have a little text box below it. So if you want to put in loading or whatever, and then choose the color for that. And if you don't want any text below the icon, you can just delete it and then it will just show nothing. Okay. So this is really cool. Let's go ahead and cycle through some of these. Let's go ahead and just, let's do this. So the default one is called Puff. Hopefully you can see it right there in the middle. Let's go to audio. So there's audio. And again, you can change the colors of these. They're just SVGs. So they'll be infinitely scalable. They center directly into the browser. So if we see, I mean, the page loads really quick, so it's just there for less than a second, right? But and then we have, let's see, ball triangles, so little triangle balls. We have bars, circles, some spinning circles, grids, it's kind of a grid of dots, hearts. So for all you ladies out there, hey, if guys, you want hearts on your website, go for it. Be a man. Okay, oval, which is kind of a spinning oval, which is kind of nice. Puff, which is the default one. I quite like that. I think it's nice. Rings, it's just kind of these expanding, everlasting, rings. Kind of a ripple effect, I guess. And then spinning circles, tailspin, and the last one is the 3 dots. So really cool. They're very nice. They are just SVG animated SVGs. So they'll look really great and sharp across all your devices. Yeah, you can customize the colors. Sweet. Okay, that's preloaders. Next, the last features have to do with forms. Actually, there's one more non-feature, not one more feature for lists. I actually just added this morning. Let me add a text into here so we can kind of see it. Inside site styles now. Let's go ahead and show that. Okay. Depending on your preference, okay, you might want to align list bullets different ways. So by default, this is what it will look like, right? Your bullet lists are indented from your text, okay? But we have 2 new options at the very bottom of site styles. And one is called position, and the other one is called indent lists, okay? I'm going to toggle them just to kind of show you what they do. And depending on the combination, you can actually get the same style depending on things. But anyway, so let's do, if we do outside list, you'll notice that if you look at the lists up here, the bullets now line up with the edge of the text. Okay. So again, inside, it gives you like a little indentation. Okay. Now you can also turn off the indentation. So if we do inside, but I turn off indent, okay, we essentially get a similar look for outside plus indent. Okay. So that depending on how you have things going, it could be the same. But now if we turn off indents, but then we go to outside, well, you'll notice you can't even see this inside edit mode. We'll have to preview the page. Is what happens is, oh, I need to have this in a column so we can see this. Okay. Now, if you look at the edge here, if you look, the bullets are outside, and then the text of the bullet lines up with the paragraph text. So the bullets are outside. So depending on your typography style, we have a lot of flexibility now with where you want to align those bullets from a typography standpoint. So small thing, but very important because it's something that if it's not baked in, it's kind of hard to do. So there you go. Okay. Forms. I'm going to start off with one of the form templates, actually. I'm going to do the contact form template. Okay. And the 2 stacks that they actually existed in the library, but they did not work, was Honeypot and reCAPTCHA. So first off, we're going to go over Honeypot. What is Honeypot? So Honeypot is a methodology that essentially creates a dummy form field that is not visible to the end user, but it is visible to bots. So it exists in the code, but it is not displayed anywhere within the page. And if that form field ever gets filled in, because bots are going to see the form field and go, hey, here's a form field, I'm going to inject some data into it. Okay. So when the bot injects data into that form field, it's going to fail. The form will not allowed to be submitted if that invisible field, aka if a bot provides data in that field, the form will not be submitted. But as an average user just filling out the form, from a web page, they're not going to see the field at all, so they're not going to add any data. So when they click submit, it's going to work with no problems, right? So let's look at Honeypot really quick. So normally I add it kind of above it doesn't really matter where you add it. But I'm going to add it right here above the submit button. And let's look at some of these settings here. So it has similar settings to what you would have inside of a normal form input field. Okay. We give it a field name. I don't recommend, probably you don't want to put fake name in there because I don't know, maybe they're searching for the word fake. I don't know. But you want to put in some data in here that will fool the spam bots to think that it's actually a normal field. So we even have accessibility fields and placeholder values, and we can even provide whether or not it's an email or a telephone number or something like that, right? So that when the bots are scanning the fields, they can go, oh, hey, this is a phone number. I better fill this in, or this is an email field. I need to put in an email address, right? So we can kind of fool the bots with the data that we add here into these field names. Okay. And as you see here, this is just a normal contact form. You don't see anything. You don't see the Honeypot on the page at all. But again, if the bot submits any data into that form, the form will not be submitted. So that's a nice thing. So that's a really kind of invisible way of having spam detection, which is really, really cool. Okay. Next up is reCAPTCHA. And I know a lot of people love reCAPTCHA. I'm going to encourage you to give Honeypot a shot, though. I think it's a really great way. Personally, I just hate reCAPTCHA. I don't think it's any fun clicking on the stupid pictures of where are the buses, and then you're like, sometimes you got to go through like 4 or 5 different things, and it's like, now click all on the buses, now click all the traffic lights, now find all the crosswalks. You're like, seriously, right? It's annoying as hell. Okay, so give Honeypot a shot. Hopefully, it should work out for you. If you're getting pounded by spam bots and whatnot, give Honeypot a shot. I really recommend it. But if you really want reCAPTCHA, you can do that. Okay. Now here inside reCAPTCHA, you'll notice that we have support for reCAPTCHA version 2, which is like the checkbox with the annoying, things that I was just ranting on. And then there is the new V3, which is invisible, right? It doesn't actually prompt the user at all, but it does have like a little floating badge on the side of your web page. So it does add some reCAPTCHA branding to your page. Now you're going to have to set up a reCAPTCHA account with Google. So when you set up that account, it's going to give you a site key and a secret key. You're going to need to put those really long numbers inside here. Okay. And then if you're using the checkbox, you have a few settings here for the styles. Okay. But really simple stack to kind of figure out configure. Wasn't easy to develop, but to implement it's pretty easy. The hardest part is probably setting up your account on Google for reCAPTCHA and then getting the site key and the secret keys. Okay. So really that's it. Hopefully, very cool not to be dependent on Google anymore. Yes, that is a great thing. Because reCAPTCHA adds a whole bunch of Google JavaScript on your page, which is going to track people and add more weight for, page loading stuff to your page. Do we really need all that? Right. So Honeypot is a really, really nice way. I strongly recommend you give it a shot. And, if you have any issues with spam bots, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to make that even better. That is 6.1, right? Any questions? Let me know in the chat box. Let me peruse through. When I had to leave, last minute Christmas shopping, sorry about that. I noticed that there is a total CMS swatch. Will there be one for admin side? So the reason I have not added the admin core into site styles, I did that on purpose because typically the admin core stack is big. Like there's a lot of weight to that. And if I were to put it in site styles, people are going to be tempted to add that to every single page, even their content side that isn't admin, right? Because people are going to partial out their site style stack. And when they partial that, it's going to include, and if it has admin core in it, that's not a good thing, right? So I recommend you just if you really wanted to, you can actually drag and drop admin core into the features box. It will allow you to drag and drop an admin core there. Okay. So if you really want it, just add it to the page and you can drag it directly into site styles. But I didn't want to add it to the drop down list, just because I didn't want to promote people adding it to every single page on their site. So hopefully that makes sense, Marin. Okay. Is Seams integrated in swatches like wallpaper and fit text? I thought a lot about that, and I don't think so. Maybe I can have like a seams swatch for styling your seams, but we still need to have the seams stack on the page. Just the way that the stack is made, wouldn't work with like having a seams swatch. So let's say what I'm thinking you're thinking is you build your seam and then you just add it to whatever section, right? Like, or to a one column or something like that. And that isn't really going to work too great. Now I am willing to rethink in terms of styling options for seams. That's an interesting idea in terms of, centralizing your styles for seams. I could be on board with that. So yeah, I'll look at that. But it might not, I wasn't sure what sort of integration you're talking about with seams, but I could do some level of styling of seams, but not automatically adding a seam to a one column or something like that, right? It really requires that the seam stack be added to the place and location that you need. Okay. Is there a Foundation 6.x project file available? Yeah, I do have only one project file. Sorry. There is one project file. I think it was in the last Hangout. We built, or it was 2 Hangouts ago, I built kind of this web page and I provided a download link. The link's on Weaverspace, as well as I think it's in the comments of the preview number 3 for the live stream of Foundation. Yeah, check out that. It's just a one pager. But where a lot of benefit is the templates. So download those templates and you're going to get a lot of benefit from those, probably more so than what a project file will do for you, in my opinion. Okay. Are the new templates also included in the new version? I already shipped the templates that I showed off last week. I already shipped those. So the template stack should auto update, or you could just re-download it. You can download it. There's a link on the product page. There's also links on the community site. So yeah, check those out. The templates are version 6.1 already, and there's 30 or 31 templates now. I think there's 30. So yeah, get those templates. Any other questions before we go? Sweet. Okay, everybody. I hope you enjoy Foundation 6.1. I'm going to be shipping this like pretty much right now. I'm gonna shut this down, do some post show work, and then I will ship version 6.1. Again, it'll be the theme and the stacks will get updated. So yeah. Take care, guys. I hope you really enjoy these updates. A lot of really, really cool stuff going on here. Yeah, it's just I'm really happy with Foundation 6.1, especially these hovers. It's really going to allow a lot of really cool stuff. So thank you very much. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a great... Oh, I'm not going to have a show next week because next Wednesday is Christmas. So yeah, I won't be doing a live stream on Christmas. Sorry, guys. So anyway, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, whatever your holiday thing is. Hope you have a great one. Spend some time with family. Go out there and make something great and share it on Weaverspace. Take care, everyone. If not, I will see you on Friday, though, if you guys join the Hangouts. So we'll see you this Friday at 1:30 Pacific. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about Foundation 6.1 after you've used it for a couple days. So cool. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm not sure when New Year's is. I don't know, maybe 3 weeks. I don't know. If New Year's falls on a Wednesday, which it might, I probably won't be here on New Year's, but we'll see. Take a look out for the emails or I'll post on Weaverspace. Take care, everyone. Bye.